What is art? What is the purpose of art? To teach. Art is, whether it's abstract, realistic, or not, it's in the eye of the beholder, but it starts in the eye and in the mind of the artist. So the viewer can only see to the limitations of the artist himself or herself. Art is created through cultural experiences, the experiences of that artist put onto the world of the painting or the world of the show. When art is viewed or spoken, that interpretation is a natural reaction based on their experiences. And I feel that that teaches each and every viewer, each and every artist, a little bit more about themselves.
This is so much, I think, of what Red is trying to answer. And I think whether or not you find an answer is up to the audience, or up to the reader. But really, I mean, what is the purpose of breathing? What is the purpose of being human? So I don't know if I can answer a specific purpose. But I think what it does show us is ourselves. And I think it shows us truth where we otherwise couldn't see it. It's very difficult to not necessarily convey the truth, but to see truth in everyday life. And I think it's a lot easier to see it in art and in fiction because it forces us to look in a way that no other aspect of life does.
The purpose of art to me should be something very meaningful. I don't believe in creating what I would consider throwaway art, things that just don't mean anything. I feel like every piece that I create, that I work on, has some ulterior meaning to it. In theater, it's pretty clear cut to me, here's the world of the play, here's the struggle the characters are going through. How does that relate to the modern audience? And what can I do to help them get that understanding? When it comes to music, it's really, a lot of my music is commentary on different social issues or the political climate going on in the world, in trying to convey some greater meaning and understanding of what's going on and incite my listeners, my audience, to really understand it, to seek out a more intellectual level and learn things from it. That's what the purpose of art is, to teach your audience to learn about what's going on, to take a stand, to make a change, to have purpose in their own lives. That's what art is.
Collectively, we all need to agree that it serves a purpose, and that purpose is worth growth. I feel like with theater, with every show produced, with every success in theater and in art, in all art forms, with every piece that is done, it grows a little more and a little more. Actually, in order for art to grow, it needs to be seen. If art is not seen, if it does not have an audience, if it is not given an audience, then it dies. It cannot go any further. It dies.
More than anything, People just need to keep creating, be willing to fail, be willing to try. And unfortunately, there's not a whole, as much as it seems like a natural selection sort of process, that of course art will live because it's such an essential part of who we are. And yet it's very difficult for schools to incorporate it into their programs. It's very difficult to get funding for these things. It's very hard to get the society that craves that art and entertainment so much to put any value in the artists who are doing it. And this isn't true across all settings, but you do find a lot that it's very difficult to attempt to make a life out of it. And so basically, to answer the question, in order for it to grow, people just need to keep creating and building on the foundation of those that came before them.
For art to grow, we need to support it. It's really a struggle nowadays to get the support for the arts. You know, you see kids at a young age who are starting to develop their creative side of their mind. And they may pick up an instrument, a paintbrush, a sculpting tool, or start playing around on stage. And the worst part about that is they don't get the support at home that they need. They don't get the support in schools that they need for it. And that's one of the things that I really feel is why art struggles to grow sometimes. Nowadays, you hear about it all the time. The first thing that gets cut from school systems is your funding for the arts, your extracurriculars. And for what? Because there's not enough money in the schools to pay people to have kids just test incessantly. We need to support the arts. Not just financially, but I guess physically and metaphysically would be the right terminology. You know, if you have somebody who's close to you and your friends or your family who is a developing artist, you should be pushing them to become better. And we need to help them connect with those resources so we continue to have art, to continue to have growth. And only through that can we continue to create such great art pieces, because as those develop and become older into their age, they start understanding and processing the influences around them in the daily world and bringing them into their art. And that's how we develop. That's how we advance as artists.